How's it going?
Welcome to Borgen & Burks. Do you have a rewards card?
No.
Joke's on you, pal. What do you want?
I just found a couple items in here. Maybe I was thinking
What
about
do you want?
how about this? How much is that?
That's Claude the Destroyer. He destroys things. 12 billion borks. What are they called?
Nuts?
Nuts? Sure. Lots of nuts.
Lots of I think I'll pass. It's a little steep.
12 million nuts. How's that?
What about this one? What's this?
That's the Editing Gauntlet. It allows you to edit things really fast.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be beneficial to me.
All right. What do you got?
I know a guy who does a lot of editing. So.
Really?
What about this thing?
That is the Sorcerer Stone.
Why is that here?
Muggle came in, name of Adrian or something like that. Gave it to me for a quarter.
Oh, what? No, I'm good. What's this? How does that?
Where did you find it?
It was in the back, and it looked like an office or something.
Not for sale, pal.
Oh, why not?
Not for sale, pal.
No?
Not for sale. What do I gotta do to get through to you, huh? You lost. Got stuff to do. Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And I'm going to ruin everything.
We're here for another episode of Adrian Reads Harry Potter.
Series 2, Episode 2.
This is chapters 4 through 6 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. We're getting through it.
We are.
We're making progress. A quick rundown, as always. At Flourish and Blots, first chapter, we get to Nocturne Alley because Harry Potter can't use flue powder. That's really hard to say. We get to meet Lucius Malfoy, and a little bit of shady business going on there. The Whomping Willow. Harry and Ron can't get through platform 9 3/4, therefore they have to fly the car to Hogwarts. They land in the Whomping Willow. We get to see a little serious teacher-esque from McGonagall, Dumbledore, Snape. Little more adult characteristics. And finally, Gilderoy Lockhart. Not all he's cracked up to be. So it's perceived.
On a writer level, I would like to examine the beginning of Chapter 3.
Okay. Which was last week, but let's hit it.
Or, I'm sorry, Chapter 4. That's right. I'm so much Harry Potter. Life at the Burrow was different as possible from life on Privet Drive. The Dursleys liked everything neat and ordered. The Weasleys' house burst with strange and unexpected. Harry got a shock the first time he looked in the mirror over the kitchen mantelpiece, and it shouted, "Tuck your shirt in, Scruffy." The ghoul in the attic howled and dropped pipes whenever things felt too quiet, and small explosions from Fred and George's bedroom were considered perfectly normal. Something that gets me there is being introduced to this world. You've got Privet Drive, the Burrow introduced first, which is where the Weasleys live.
Yes.
Then Privet Drive, but when you go into the description, the Dursleys are first, which would be paired respectively with the Burrow. Also, right there, why would it be in the place of disorder that the ghost in the mirror is telling you to tuck in your shirt? Isn't having your shirt untucked disorderly?
It is, but I think it's the surprise,
right?
The chaos.
But then what you do there is instead of saying tuck in your shirt, Scruffy, you introduce something. Quit looking at me, Scruffy. Something like that.
Okay.
It was difficult for me to orient myself in that paragraph because being so new to this, I'm thinking the Burrow, the Dursleys, and then I get disorder. But really, it's the Burrow, the Weasleys, which is disorder.
Privet Drive,
right.
The Dursleys, normal.
But shortly after that, we have something beautiful from Rowling.
Okay. Can you say that again? I kind of want to clip that soundbite.
We have something competently done by Rowling. She dived under the table to retrieve the bowl and emerged with her face glowing like the setting sun. This is a beautiful opportunity to explain simile to your children.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you're not reading this to your children. You're a 30-year-old man who lives in Midtown Kansas City, reading this alone in bed at night. and crying all the wait, that's me. That's me. I don't know who you are. So.
So, good example of writing, bad example of writing.
Right. I wouldn't necessarily call that beginning confusion an example of bad writing.
Poor choices.
It is definitely disorienting.
Okay.
It was for me anyway.
And you know, we have talked about that briefly before, how people are going back and reading this to their children. So there is some merit in here, and that's actually not a bad line. So yeah, again, Rowling is showing promise.
Yeah.
She's growing. She's becoming more comfortable as a writer. I think it's even better once she gets to the point that she's made it, that the publishers don't ruin everything. And she just gets to write how she feels. That's good writing.
Well, but you also have to edit yourself. Look what it's done to Stephen King.
Point.
Okay.
Point. So, Lucius Malfoy. Thoughts?
That's the dad, right?
Yes.
He seems ripped straight out of a Bret Easton Ellis novel.
Okay.
He seems like he would fit in very well with the goons in American Psycho.
Okay.
Like Patrick Bateman's friends, who just talk so sneeringly to each other. I like that guy.
Of course you do.
Also, he seems to be employing decent parenting tactics.
Yes.
A little on the harsh side, but he says, oh, you know, I would think...
Don't touch anything.
Right. Not only that, but I would think someone would be working harder after being upstaged by a muggle for an entire semester, son. Right? Being a little hard on him, a little tough love. Tough love has a place in the world.
I love the fact that you identify and appreciate all the characters that everyone hates. I think he's a good character, though. It's that snide, pompous, old world, better than you. Everyone's aware that he was a major supporter of the bad guy.
I'm telling you, he's straight out of a Bret Easton Ellis novel.
Really? Oh, see, I haven't read any Bret Easton Ellis yet. So
Wait
maybe
till we get there.
I'm just going to cross out names and write in Lucius.
Yeah.
I like Lucius Malfoy as a character. He's a good character. He's going to play some pivotal roles in henceforth, because obviously it's been set up that Malfoy is the anti-Harry. So they're going to be rivals, essentially. So Lucius does come into play quite a bit. The banter between him and the Weasley father, that's a big deal. I think you're touching on a lot of things there.
I think you're also touching on a lot of history between the characters. Someone insults your family, you might make a deal out of it. I don't think you jump straight into beating somebody up, right?
Okay.
You don't jump straight into whooping ass. Okay, so there's history here.
Oh, there's definitely history.
I don't know if that's supported by the rest of the series, but I'm calling that out now. There should be a prequel to this.
I mean,
with those characters.
To stretch a World War II reference here, let's associate Lucius Malfoy with a Nazi who supported Adolf Hitler, and Mr. Weasley as a sympathizer for the Jewish race. Because you can get some similarities there. There is that snide thing about Lucius Malfoy that would
less than human,
and it just completely enrages Mr. Weasley, because he is talking down on a race of people. He's talking down on Muggles, and we are going to get into that next week. Mudbloods.
But see, I don't know that I would necessarily equate that to World War II and Nazi versus Jewish sympathizer.
Okay.
I think you have to take this much more closely to Rowling's history. Class is something that is very deeply ingrained in the English
Yes, that's a good
mindset.
point. That
Right?
it is.
If you're not royalty, you're just not royalty. If you're not this class, you're just not this class.
Okay, and these are two different classes of people. Now, next week we are going to start getting into mudbloods. Have you been introduced to that term at all yet?
I think it popped up once in the
As
first
an
novel.
insult.
Yes.
But that's going to start playing a major role, having that non-wizard family. Being filthy blood, essentially.
Right.
Not pure.
And there's something in these 3 chapters that we'll get to eventually, because it still makes me nervous to talk about. But there's the idea of the children jumping in the fire there with the flu powder.
Yes.
That doesn't happen in an American children's novel.
No.
You don't.
No.
In America, that's not. Which raises the question to me: what are the ethics behind reading a book for children before reading it to your children? Like, what type of authority do you take it on?
Okay.
Because there was in the United States the whole deal with, my kid ain't reading Harry Potter, it goes against the Bible.
Yes.
Which there's a hint of that in here. I don't know if you picked up on it, but Ron's broken magic stick smells like rotten egg. Did you get that?
Is that a sulfuric?
Yes, it's a sulfur reference. Sulfur is often associated with
The devil.
The devil and hell.
Actually, growing up in the Midwest, I knew people whose parents would not let them read Harry Potter, watch Harry Potter, talk about Harry Potter, because Harry Potter's the devil.
I did too, yeah.
So that's interesting, and I agree completely. That is American society. We can't write about kids jumping into the fireplace, because the first kid who jumps into a fireplace and his parents see Harry Potter on a shelf and have actually read it, they're gonna be like, he threw flue powder in there and burnt.
I'm suing. Where is that?
Scholastic?
Oh, no, that's Scholastic.
Scholastic, yeah. So, ridiculously. But, yeah.
So what are the ethics behind reading a story for children before you read it to your child?
I think if you read it initially, before you read it to your child, it is inherent of parenting that you are going to slough off some things, censor some things you don't agree with, or you're going to give them the full Monty. I mean, I think if I had a child, I would be completely comfortable saying, here's Harry Potter. Read it. Tell me what you think, kid. But some people do have different parenting styles, and they do want to keep things away from their kids.
Right, which I think is, and I don't have children. I barely have interaction with house pets. Like I don't interact with anything. But isn't that a weaker type of parenting than giving the child the story of someone jumping into the fire and saying, hey, they can do this because it's magic. We don't have magic.
Process it.
We're muggles.
Process it.
Right? Okay.
So yeah, I can agree with that one. The Whomping Willow. Harry and Ron can't get on platform 9 3/4, so they fly to Hogwarts. They land in the super awesome tree that beats them half to death. And we get to see, I think importantly in this chapter, a more serious side of Dumbledore. The entire last book, Dumbledore is laughing, joking, at being eccentric and ridiculous. This time they arrive and they're like, not the best choices. So we are starting to see a different Dumbledore, which I think is important.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that at all.
Okay, what do you want to talk about? What makes you uncomfortable?
Does Harry Potter marry Ginny?
Do you want me to answer legitimately, or do you...
No, you probably shouldn't. I should get there.
Okay.
But I'm picking up on that. Okay, what makes me uncomfortable? We get the line from the Malfoy father, wizard blood counting for less everywhere, which reeks of white supremacy. Later, we get the Hagrid makes after the fight between the Weasley father and the Malfoy father, we get Hagrid saying something about there being bad blood. So there's a lot of blood references to them. Now, Malfoy is also against Muggles, right?
Yes.
Not favorable of Muggle. I want you to look at the word Muggle. M-U-G-G-L-E.
Yep.
N-I-G-G-E-R.
Very similar.
Very similar words. I will say that just the similarity of the words makes me uncomfortable. Not that art can't traipse along those lines, but why, if the reference is there and the reference is strong enough, why do we need a word that is close enough to invoke such a harmful word?
Congratulations, you have picked up on the entirety of this novel early. This entire year is going to be about pure blood, keeping the pure race of wizard alive. We are going to find out a little more about Hagrid, why Hagrid has been shunned from Hogwarts.
I'm imagining we find out more about Lockhart, because Lockhart has blonde hair and blue eyes.
Not so much.
Not so much? Okay.
We'll touch on it. Hagrid is referred to often later in this novel as a half-breed. There's a lot going on with this one, and this is what I was saying, is that first novel was child's play. We're starting to tackle adult topics, but she's disguising it so well that a child would read this as magic and wizards.
And a child would read this and think, it's so silly to discriminate on someone on race.
Why are they so mean to the Muggles?
Right.
So there is a lot that's going to be going on, and the next 3 chapters are going to set it up for you. The next chapter, if I may, have you seen the chapter titles?
No. For the next chapter?
The next chapter is entitled, I think it's Mudbloods and Murmurs. Yes, Mudbloods and Murmurs. Wow. So we are going to start getting heavily into this topic. I think you're going to have a heyday with this one. I think you're going to really enjoy it.
Especially since Hagrid's also already set up as sort of a fuck-up, right?
Yes.
But in a very subtle undertone way. Why was Hagrid in Nocturne Alley?
You're going to find out a lot of stuff about Hagrid soon.
Because it doesn't say... And we keep getting these little references that why were you gambling for a... Where were you that you were gambling to win a dragon? Mm-hmm. Why are you in Nocturne Alley? We keep getting these little things that are underhanded and something that only I think adults would pick up on, right? Because adults are better with subtext than kids. That is a subtext that an adult picks up on, right? Say there is a pornography shop in your town, and you see someone's car there, a child does not say, what the hell is Dalton doing in the pornography shop? A Dalton says, Dalton's car! Yes. Or a child says, Dalton's car!
Yes.
Right? A child sees Hagrid in Nocturne Alley and says, Hagrid! Does not say, what are you doing in that whorehouse?
Yeah.
Right?
There is so much that's going to be going on with this. I'm going to have to go back to it about the similarities between white supremacy and things like that. We get to learn a little bit more about Voldemort's past. Who Voldemort was before he gave everything for power. And Voldemort was this pristine, heir apparent, perfect.
Are you ruining
wizard.
things for me right now?
No, I'm setting things up. So there's a lot of uncomfortable similarities to things here that we're going to be touching on. That is good. This is good writing. This is finally getting there. And from henceforth, we start dealing with more adult topics.
That's all right.
So, do you have anything else you really want to speak about?
Yeah, I got a few things. $10 says Lockhart turns into a coward at some point, or is the bad guy of this novel.
Okay.
I believe this is the beginning of the fame isn't good bit.
All right.
I deeply hope that there is a shop somewhere in Denver, Colorado called Potter Herbology.
Oh, that's brilliant. We may have to move and redefine business.
Right. Mandrake will reappear.
Okay.
Because it shows the true character of someone or something, wasn't it? There was something, I don't remember, that I picked up on, but I'm betting it's with Lockhart. Also, Mandrake is purplish green. Come on. Last thing that I have for these 3 chapters, it's finally hitting me what I felt missing from this story so far.
Okay.
How much more interesting would this be if Ron was a hothead?
All right.
Ron's father gets in a fight. Ron's always ready to fight. Here's this guy, and I want to fight him. You know, Ron right now is just a shadow of a character. How much more interesting would that be if he were the guy that was... All of his brothers were sort of, okay, you know, we're poor, that's fine, whatever. But Ron's finally the one that, you know what, I want to fight about it.
But we're starting to see glimpses of that, aren't we? When Ron confronts Malfoy?
We're seeing
Is that what prompted it?
That's sort of what prompted it, but I think what ended up... Look, Rowling put a lot of things in here, but what color hair do the Weasleys have?
Red.
Who has red hair?
Angry.
Irish people.
Oh, okay.
So Irish people have red hair. We're in England.
Who's the impoverished people?
White,
the Irish.
Right. Which you already went as far as to make them the poor ones. Why do they have to be? Yeah. If you make him the hothead, you're going full on stereotype.
Full prime. Okay. I would like to plug that reading this after college, I realized that Gilderoy Lockhart was every professor I ever had.
Yeah.
I'm the greatest. I did all of this. Let me tell you about my accomplishments. I see you bought the complete works of me. And he falls short.
Right.
You can't even contain the pixies.
Right.
But anyway, starting to get interesting. I think we're going to start hitting some heavy, heavy topics next week. We will be continuing with the Strip Cover Lit Read Along. Adrian reads Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to follow along with this one. I think it's going to be a good one.
Make sure you give us your thoughts below, because this is where I'm really interested in what you guys have picked up on and what you guys have. Dalton will be taking the comments here.
But I will definitely filter these comments, get rid of the spoilers, and bring them to Adrian's attention. No problem. So if you want your voice to be heard, let us know down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this one.